Hello and Welcome to Derry. I'm Lindsay Dunn, your host of the One of My Stories podcast, and with me today is your other host from the Sweet Child of Time podcast. He's got a serious case of the I told you so's tonight. It's Steve Barnes. Ahoy and beep beep, Steve.
Oh, beep beep, Lindsay. Yes, we got a beep beep in this episode. How are you tonight, Lindsay?
I'm good, Steve. I'm ready to talk about this last episode, and we were commenting on how cold it is.
Oh yeah.
We need some fire to ward off the cold. We got some winter fire tonight. And here we are at episode 7, Winter Fire. So what were your overall reactions to this episode?
I've got a lot of thoughts. I put most of them at the end of my notes, though, for the benefit of our conclusion and rating of the episode and season and stuff like that. But from the get-go here, I'll just say this episode, I think things were a bit unclear, aka foggy. There was a lot going on that was cloaked under the fog, so to speak. So I think there were some key points that could easily be missed. And there's some key things that occurred that were kind of questionable, I guess. So I hope that our discussion can be helpful to anyone who might have missed anything in this episode. But yeah, it didn't end well. I'm just going to say, I'm not thrilled with the ending. I'm not thrilled with the episode. I have more key points later on about that, but I did have fun. And I think that's the most important thing is to have fun when you're watching shows like this, because this show is it's not here to save anyone's lives. It's here to entertain us and be scary. And, it succeeded in that respect. I don't have a glowing review for my overall thoughts. How about yourself, Lindsay?
Okay, well, we're on the same page, I think. Right. I think that overall, the special effects that were in the episode tonight combined to give us probably the season's best horror moments with the fog and all of the ample Pennywise time. If you want more Pennywise, here you are. We got lots of Pennywise this time, lots of Bill Skarsgård. So you have probably, if you're looking for a horror show, this gives probably the best horror episode, which is fitting for the grand finale. But like you said, there were a few parts of that seemed forced and a little silly. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, it almost didn't have enough weight because when you look at the overall picture, you killed one kid and then Daniel. So it felt very horror, but at the same time, overall, if you're thinking about a whole cycle, it doesn't feel like it was weighty enough to me, of what happened. The emotional beats that we got sort of at the end, some of it was heartfelt and appreciated, but I felt cynical about some of the things that they tried to land at the end, which maybe is some of the fog you're referring to. Mm-hmm. Also, too many leaks took away from any power those final moments could have had because there was a pretty big leak that was out there. And I kept ignoring that leak. And I kept saying, this can't really be that. This has got to be something else. It cannot possibly tie into this original Losers Club character. But it did. And I think everybody who's been listening knows I do not like when they feel like they have to tie all the characters in to, it's this person's mom and this person's dad and they're all related. And it felt like there was just a lot of that was forced in there. And I just don't like that. I don't feel like it's natural. That's not the way life is. We don't get everybody related to each other. And it could be cool if you look at the time travel angle they've left us with, which we'll get into later, some of that could work better than I think. I just think they need Bo. They need Baron Bo Odar and Janssen Freeze if you're going to do this, because it should have been, with all the cool things they set up, it should have felt really powerful, but it didn't. It just felt kind of forced at the end there.
Yeah, I got a couple rebuttals for you too. When you say things, that you don't like when things are connected, and you don't like how that angle of it. I think it's interesting that you and I doing this podcast, because I love those type of connections. So I have the opposite. I'm not saying you're right or I'm not saying I'm right, But I like those connections. I like finding out so and so is connected to so and so. And I think in the Stephen King universe, and especially in a town like Derry, I think that's going to definitely happen because it's a small town. So it's, small towns beget small families and, their names carry on. So I think that kind of makes sense in our story, like especially a small town like Derry. So that's where I'm coming from with the connectivity. So I like it where you don't like it. But we both agree that we need more Bo in this. Baron Bo Odar and Yante Freeze. And that's something I wanted to just briefly mention is that there was a Reddit AMA earlier this week that the Muschettis did, Andy and Barbara. And much like this episode, it was kind of it was kind of clouded. It was kind of foggy. They only answered 23 questions all told, and they haven't gone back to the AMA. This AMA was like 3 days ago or more. And they haven't gone back to answer any of the questions that people have asked. The usual Reddit AMA is somebody will announce they're doing it a few days ahead of time. People will start asking questions. Sometimes the host will jump on early and start tackling some of the early questions or some of the easy questions. And then the time the AMA happens, there's a lot of interaction generally. And it usually lasts for a couple hours. And then when it's over, usually within the frame of the next couple of days, the person who hosts the AMA will go back and answer the questions they weren't able to answer, like in those couple of hours they did it. Well, the Muschettis were only doing it. They only did it for maybe 45 minutes. Like I said, they answered exactly 23 questions. And then Andy said, this is too much. I can't handle it. And he bailed. And they never returned back to it again. So I thought that was, and they didn't answer my question, which was, when is Baron Bo Odar and Yante Freeze going to be part of this? And are they going to be part of this? And of course, that question was not answered. So yeah, I didn't enjoy their AMA. It is on there under the r/horror subreddit if you want to go and check it out. Barbara Muschetti has started another AMA by herself. So I think we might get more answers with hers. So I need to go after her.
I see. I wondered if English is their first language and they were having to translate the questions into their language and then answer them and then translate them back into English or something. So it might have taken longer than we think.
That's nice of you to give them an excuse, but I don't think that's the case.
Maybe it's their first AMA and they didn't realize what it was going to be like.
Not that either. They've done them before.
I will say I did an AMA once and I set clear rules about what questions people could ask and what kind of questions I would answer. And everybody ignored the rules that I set up and asked me all kinds of questions I couldn't answer because it was a spoiler-free AMA.
Okay.
About Cobra Kai because I had seen some of the episodes early. So they asked me if I could do an AMA and I said, well, I can, but I cannot I can't talk about any spoilers. But then, of course, everybody was asking me, who wins this fight? Who wins that fighter? Or they'd say, well, I like this character. Will I be happy? And I'm like, how am I supposed to know if you'll be happy or not?
Well, yeah, that's the power of the Reddit AMA host. You have all these powers and responsibilities.
Yeah. Well, it was not a Reddit AMA. It was a Discord AMA.
Even so.
Yeah. Well, yes, they did not answer your question.
Or the 600 other questions that were presented to them.
But I think some of the flaws that perhaps we were noticing would not be present if we had some other particular people join the team.
Yeah, perhaps. I think like it seemed like this was kind of geared towards like a younger audience, where it seems like Bo and Yante's shows are geared. They don't seem like they're geared towards a younger audience at all. Where I see like clear evidence of like this show, it being, geared towards younger viewers.
I don't know if I get that sense, but
I think so. Just from the dialogue and just from the resolution and the acting and like moments like the characters are running to the tree and then they stop and they say, "Look, it's the tree. We're almost there." And then they start running some more.
Yeah, some of that dialogue was a little weak. I was going to bring that up. But let's look at some Easter eggs.
Yeah, it's Easter time. That's right.
It's Easter time. It's Easter time, 4 months early.
That's right. I took my basket out. I thought it was going to be kind of hard finding some in this last episode, but I managed to find a couple. Did you find any, Lindsay?
I found some. I think I found more in this episode than I have in some of the other previous episodes. But, remember last episode I only had 2.
That's right.
It's not going to be hard for me to say I got a few more.
Laura, well, you go first then. What you got?
Well, I already kind of gave my first egg away, but it was the whole beep, beep. Beep, beep, Margie.
Okay, a little dialogue. All right, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. What am I going to choose for my first one here? A couple episodes, did we talk about the liquor called Old Granddad by any chance? Did we have a conversation about that?
We haven't talked about that, but I did notice the Old Granddad, and I was trying to remember why that seemed familiar.
He being Dick Halloran was drinking that this episode. That's my Easter egg. He was also drinking it at the Black Spot, and he was calling it Pap. And that's something that a common nickname people call this liquor is Pap. And I never knew. I'm 53 years old. I'm not a drinker, and this might be explained why, but I've never heard of this liquor, Old Granddad. But it really explains something to me, which is this George Thorogood song called I Drink Alone. And it's a cool song, but he talks about how he's a drunk and he drinks by himself. And in one of the lines, he says, the only one who will hang out with me is my old granddad. And he's talking about this liquor, of course, but I didn't know that. I thought he was talking about, oh, my granddad's a drunk too, and we hang out together. So I took it quite literally. I didn't know it was a liquor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I noticed that bottle. I didn't have a chance to watch the episode a second time, but I might have looked at that a little closer. But I can't remember if it's been mentioned in other books or if I have a friend that said they had drank some Old Granddad. It's supposed to be some pretty powerful stuff that Dick Halloran is drinking, but good one. My next one is going to be Dick Halloran saying, how much trouble can a hotel be?
Okay, yeah, that's right. I think that was almost like Christmas tree territory instead of an Easter egg territory, because that's like pretty big one, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, most of my remaining eggs are pretty Captain Obvious.
Oh, no. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to down you. That's definitely an Easter egg, but it's one that like the Muschettis, like I think they put like big lights on that one, I think. Mm-hmm. My next one, I think this is really fun. When they're up in the standpipe, they being the 3 girls, and they notice the fog for the first time. They're like doing some like spring cleaning or something. Mm-hmm. And that box that Lily has it says CCM matched set on it. And it caught my eye just because it was words. I looked it up. They're ice skates. So like they would have come in handy later on in the episode. But for right now, she has a pair of ice skates up there with her.
Okay. My next one is also from the end of the episode. Mrs. Kirsch saying, you know what they say about Derry? No one who dies here really dies. And of course, that's repeated in this show. It's repeated in It, Chapter 2. Mm-hmm. So it's a recurring line that it's like a Leonardo DiCaprio moment from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We all snap our fingers and point, and she says that. That's
right. She said it, I think it's like 3 times now that she says the magic phrase 3 times.
Yeah.
I guess my next one will be the this one was kind of funky when they were leaving town, and like the big sign that said like, you know, you're now leaving Derry, and it had the Paul Bunyan up there. It also had one of those signposts on it that says who sponsored the billboard, and it's the Legion of White Decency.
Oh man,
they're the guys who put that billboard up, so they're still in town running wild.
They paid for it?
Yep. Oh, yeah. You think they would hate Paul Bunyan because everybody else does.
Well, they might be the ones that like Paul Bunyan. But give me. We need some eggs to throw at that billboard if they sponsored it. I mean, my last Easter egg would be the Marsh family at the end.
Oh, Beverly and her dad there.
Her dad, old Alvin and the Chipmunks, and Elfrida is, I guess, her mom's name, that they show up, which I don't like this Easter egg, but it's an Easter egg. Or maybe it's not an Easter egg. Maybe it's an Easter omelet at this point, you know, because it's another pretty obvious one.
Yeah, my last two are pretty obvious too.
Yeah.
I'll do a rapid fire. We got
Okay.
Maturin again. He's hanging out and he got Pennywise floated. And he's pretty worthless this whole series. He didn't do much of anything.
Mm.
And then my very last one would be when Pennywise sheds all his manifestations, like towards the end, we get another view of Lily's dad, and we also get to see the little funky demon baby again.
Right. The demon baby. And all the, I guess that was his other manifestations that he was shedding one after another.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know why he chose to do that, but it was cool looking, so I'll give it a pass.
He does that in the first movie when the kids kill him.
Right.
He kind of goes through his greatest hits. And then whoever the kid is that's their fear, they stick it with one of their weapons. But in this case, it was just one person really facing that creature down. So,
sometimes I like when movies do that. I think, wasn't it Sinners that did that? Like at the end of the movie, they kind of like went on this little like trip down memory lane. And that made me like the movie more because of the way they ended it with that little like, hey, remember when all this cool stuff happened in the beginning of the movie? Well, remember it as you walk out. So yeah, that's a good thing to do. Pennywise and show all his little fears. Like, hey, you remember when I did this, Lily?
Yeah, now I don't remember which character was standing there when he did it right at the end. But yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. So are we ready to go into some characters?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Let's burn through these characters. We're going to bring back kind of everybody. We're going to be like the last time we're discussing all these people. So we're going to give them all like a little pat on the back goodbye, right?
Everybody who's still alive. Some people didn't make it. Mr.
If you're dead, screw
Stan
you.
Kirsch, he's gone.
Yeah. No more honorable mentions except for that one.
Okay, so we do have a few groups, but we're going to mainly talk about these guys as individuals so we can talk about their overall arc. So the first one we're going to start with is Ingrid.
Yeah, she wasn't too much in this episode. We only saw her as a kid for like 5 seconds or so.
That was actually a memory that Dick Halloran was planting.
Oh, okay.
That's his mind.
That's right.
It wasn't even real. But that was confusing for a minute because I didn't understand that was Dick Halloran. I thought that they were trying to show us how his time travel works. That maybe that when Bob Gray woke up, like I bought it for a minute. I was thinking,
yeah, me too.
I was thinking maybe Bob Gray wasn't dragged off by wolves. Maybe he just woke up, but there was something off with him, and maybe Pennywise possesses him every now and again. I thought they were setting up our new time travel situation for us to put it into place. But no, that was Dick Halloran messing with Pennywise and slapping him around a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, he did get a punch in there. That was pretty nice. So that wasn't Ingrid then. But we did see Ingrid, I guess, like in the post-credit kind of thing, like at the very, very end.
Before the post-credits, we do see her as she's a new patient at Jupiter Hill.
Yeah.
Right.
So what time frame was that? Was that happening like after like the fog happened?
I think so. Yes, that's a now memory. Because it was kind of like after they wrapped up everything with Ronnie and the Hanlons are leaving town.
Yes.
Not the Hanlons, the Grogans. When the Grogans have left town, then they cut to Jupiter Hill and we see Ingrid and she's upset and like, where have they taken my father? Okay. Where have they taken him? And then they put the record on to calm her down.
And then we cut to the older Ingrid.
Yes.
Okay, so that was 1962. We see like the Ingrid with the black hair as we know her like in this season. And I guess that's why it confused me because she was talking about the handkerchief and talking about where is my dad? And I was like, what? I guess she's just talking about that because of what she just experienced, which was she was in the deadlights of Pennywise in the last episode. And then when he got whisked away, we saw Leroy wake up from the deadlights. We saw the kids wake up from the deadlights. Therefore, Ingrid woke up from the deadlights too. But now she's more confused than she was previously.
Mm-hmm. It feels like the deadlights could be almost like brain damage. In order to recuperate, you need somebody to kiss you passionately. There was no one there to kiss Ingrid.
You need the power of friendship. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Hank Grogan wasn't really all that concerned or attached to Ingrid because he didn't really seem to wonder where she was.
Well, I don't think they had a real, in-depth relationship. And if they did, it was by design from Ingrid. So he probably feels used by her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's still a little unclear what her status is. Obviously, we see her, she's confused. Then we see her in the time jump. She's painting.
But she's still in Juniper Hill, though.
She's still in Juniper Hill, right. So I guess what I'm saying is, though, we know that eventually when Beverly comes to her old house, she sees a Mrs. Kirsch person there.
Right.
Is she seeing a real Mrs. Kirsch, or is that a Pennywise manifestation? Because if that was 1988, then that means in 27 years, she'd be pretty old. So I was thinking they were going to be a little more on the nose, because they've been so on the nose about some other things. Like, why couldn't they have been a little more on the nose about Mrs. Kirsch? Because
I guess so.
Yeah, when you see her in the movies, she's running around and tall and naked with her boobs swinging back and forth, so.
That wasn't her, though, I guess, after all.
That wasn't her.
This, I mean, I guess they used that character to give us this cool character of Ingrid, but otherwise that was just some old lady that Pennywise was being. So that remains the same.
So maybe the real Mrs. Kirsch just died in Juniper Hill.
That's my guess, yeah. Just of old age while she was doing some painting.
Mm-hmm. That seems very sad.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, at least she wasn't like eaten or anything, so
yeah,
there's a plus side to that. And plus, she's she is brain damaged. I mean, it's pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yes, it is sad, but at the same time, I mean, she's in the place where she's getting care, and it seems like they're allowing her to have plants and paint and stuff. So she's doing the best she can.
It's a calm environment.
Yes. Well, until, the lady down the hall decides to off herself. Sweet Shot of Time is brought to you by Zencastr. Zencastr is the way we record Sweet Shot of Time. We hook up with our guests via video and we record it on audio. Recently, we've been doing video podcasts with the cast of Time Bandits. It's easy using Zencastr. You can record video or audio. You can also edit your podcast or your video via Zencastr. Join Zencastr using my promo code Sweet Child of Time and you can get 30% off Zencastr. If you're ready to start your podcast, it's time to share your story. Share it with Zencastr. That promo code once again, Sweet Child of Time at Zencastr.com.
Okay, should we move forward?
Yes.
So we're now going to talk about our patty cakes / our high schoolers. All I can say is bravo to it or Pennywise, because he hypnotized them all with his talent show.
Yeah.
And then he Pied Piper them all on a grand march. They were enthralled by his performance, and he led them out in town in a giant parade, and everybody was enjoying the music and the show, apparently, because they followed behind.
Yeah, I got a bit to say about Pennywise and all this. We're going to talk about him next, but I'm going to stick to the high schoolers and patty cakes. Mm-hmm. I guess like those flyers that the kids see, the girls see on the standpipe, because, like you said, he's got all the kids like floating out, and then like they see all the flyers pasted on the standpipe. So I guess that was just a hallucination that he just whipped up those flyers as part of the hallucination, because you couldn't print those out that quickly and then put them all in like the most inconspicuous spot where like no one in town will see them except for kids, because that place is abandoned. Let's not forget. But when it comes to the patty cakes, though, there's no redemption for these girls. I had talked about in previous episodes how they were going to turn good at some point, or somebody was saying how one of them deserves to die and all this stuff, but they're just straight up, they're going to grow up just to be shitty dairy adults. You know what I'm saying? They're like shitty kids. They're just going to be your typical dairy adults when they grow up. No redemption, no nothing.
Did you have any clarity on the fact that when they went into the gym, the 3 main patty cakes, they're talking about who would make the ugliest baby, which was, I guess, mildly interesting when you think about all the maternal horror we've had with babies.
Yeah.
But the third one that was always
mouth.
chewing the gum, they just had her like all of a sudden.
I tried. I mean, the subtitles said "my parents," and then it didn't say anything after that, and there's no discernible syllables I could make out whatsoever.
I don't mean what she said. I just mean, why did they throw that in? Because she wasn't talking like that before, unless they just had her. Has she not had any dialogue this whole show and I just didn't notice? I know she's mainly chewing her gum.
Right.
And smiling and nodding. But I didn't think that she was talking like a mushmouth the whole show. So I wondered why they threw that in, unless it was just to make a joke, like, oh, this is why we haven't given her any lines.
I mean, in my mind, like yes, she hasn't had any lines. She just chews gum. She snaps the gum. She blows bubbles. At one point, she chokes on her gum.
Right.
So this is the final episode, and it's like she finally gets a line. What's she gonna say? And that's what she says. So that was my perspective. It was a joke, and to me, it did pay off. It's like, you know, you're not sure what's going to happen in this scene. They're just having like this banal conversation. And yeah, I think it's just played up for humor, and I think it works. It passes the humor test with me anyway. I liked it.
Yeah. I thought it was a little silly, though, that Pennywise brought them all out there, and then the spell is broken, and they all just run home.
They fell on that ice really hard. There were some twisted ankles, some busted heads. Did you notice that too?
I didn't.
I mean, they were floating, and then they just thumped to the ground, and it looked like it hurt. So I was a little concerned that they had fallen from that. Like, they were about, because the girls were trying to reach Will, and they were reaching up with their hands. So they're probably 5 feet tall. They could probably reach up to 6 feet. So the kids are like 7, 8 feet in the air, and then they just fall onto like the hard ice impact.
Yeah.
I'm
it just
worried.
seems like it just seems like there should have been more carnage from Pennywise doing this. It's another, I guess it's another one of those things that is supposed to be a grand epic thing, that he had all these kids in his wake, but then to not do anything with it, again, it just felt a little weak sauce.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I will move us forward to our next character, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Our next character is Pennywise, played by Bill Skarsgård. He deserves the crown, man. They did a great job, especially this episode. In my notes, this is what I wrote down, is that Pennywise is excited that the pillar is broken. He wants to party. He grabs all the kids and plans to explore the world. That's my simple explanation for you, is like, he's really excited that he can finally break free and can leave Derry. So he gets his wagon, and he has his line of children. And yeah, it's done for us, the audience. It's done for the rule of cool, I guess you would say, because it looks cool to have a bunch of kids floating in a single line across a lake of ice. But I mean, I got to think that's the only reason it could be happening is because Pennywise is like really amped up, really excited.
I liked the visual effect of him grabbing the kids. That's not the part that I'm complaining about. It's that, wouldn't he have maybe had a little snack before? I don't know. It just felt like none of those kids got hurt, and yeah, he wanted to leave Derry. He wanted to go on his tour, but yeah, is that what you're saying? It's just that he wanted to wait until he got out of Derry to.
No, he's already full. He was already getting ready to like hibernate for his period, because he ate like 23 people at the black spot. So, you know, he's full. He doesn't need to eat, but he does, you know, want to have plenty of food when he's on his little road trip. So he packed up some snacks. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of agree. I think the whole concept is I mean, in a word, a little hokey. Maybe it's something that old-fashioned clowns are into. I don't know, like commandeering all the kids into a single room and hypnotizing them and taking them in a line with your clown wagon. I mean, yeah, it's absolutely silly. But, we're in the realms of a Stephen King horror show. That's not a good excuse, I guess. It doesn't really explain anything away, but I mean, I'm just going to chalk it up to pure excitement.
Yeah. I just think something would have happened. Like maybe he wouldn't have eaten somebody before, but once the kids dropped and they fell, they all just went, then they fell hard. They all just went home. That's it. Nobody stayed to help. They all just ran home. It just felt like there could have been more characters involved in this ending.
It would have been pandemonium. You're right.
Yeah.
If this was like a real life event, yeah, those kids would have been all hanging around, not knowing what to do, getting in the way. But luckily Taniel was there to lead them to the North Shore. So that's all he had to do was say, go to the North Shore. And then all the kids went there like obedient little children.
Okay.
No questions asked. So, I mean, that's kind of what we have to go through here. We have to go through no questions asked. If you want to enjoy this, don't ask any questions.
That's true. That's true. So like Pennywise himself, yes, this was a great performance for him in this final episode. I thought he was horrific. The thing in the gym, his song in the gym, then him leading the kids out and his interactions with the characters on the ice as he's trying to get out of the boundary before they're able to get the shard in there. It was a good performance. Bill Skarsgård was doing his thing. He had great clown makeup. You had that nice change into the bird.
Oh, his delivery is great with every line. Mm-hmm. Even though the lines are corny, like he delivers them really well. And the way he's like gleefully skipping when he thinks that he's going to win and he skips past everyone with a little smile on his face. I mean, that's pure gold. It's good stuff.
And he skips in slow motion sometimes. That's impressive too.
He chooses whether he wants to go fast and be everywhere at once, and if he wants to go really slow and allow the others to win. It's kind of like a 50-50 for him.
Yeah.
The very beginning of the episode, I think it's when we first get our first glance of Pennywise, because this episode starts like inexplicitly with the fog rolling in. Like we just had the black spot last episode. And like you were saying, I'm going back and listening to our last episode where you were talking about how you were disappointed. Like you were like, what are they going to build us up to? What's going to be the next big thing? And really the black spot should have been the big event this season, in my opinion. They could have skipped this whole thing.
So you're agreeing with me?
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay.
But at the very beginning, this is what I'm trying to come back to. I kind of lost my train of thought while I was running my mouth there. The fog is rolling in, and you see that girl at the hobby shop, and she has that creepy smile while she's watching the fog roll in. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty positive that was Pennywise, or that was a reflection of Pennywise based on her teeth and her smile. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's our first appearance of Pennywise in the episode. He lets the fog roll in.
The first appearance of the entity.
The entity, it's okay. Let's be clear.
When you say first appearance of Pennywise, I'm thinking on the stage when he sang the song with the kids. Yeah. He stops to explain his plot.
Yeah.
Typical mastermind behavior.
He didn't have to do that.
I know. He didn't have to do it. He did it because the Muschietis needed to let us know what was going on. So he stopped to explain to Marge what was coming for whatever reason. It was just because of the plot that he did that. But it seemed a little silly, and that part seemed silly. But it did give us that cool moment where he's frozen.
Oh yeah.
And Dick Halloran then gets into his mind, because at first I was like, what is going on here? Is he showing Marge? He just told her his plan.
Right.
So is he freezing so that she could absorb the horror of this moment?
Exactly. That's right. It threw me through a loop too the first time. Mm-hmm. And when I finished that episode the first time through, I still wasn't 100% clear. So I'm guessing that maybe some listeners maybe aren't clear about how that went down. Can I say like what exactly happened there?
Sure.
is that's the exact moment that Dick Halloran managed to get inside Pennywise's mind at that exact same moment. It was just lucky coincidence for Marge. And so at that moment, when he gets in Dick's mind, Dick and Pennywise, are like stuck in like this frozen dead light state where they're both like just basically catatonic. Meanwhile, what's happening inside their head is that whole, waking up as Bob Gray thing, getting slapped by the carny, and eventually kicking Dick out of the wagon. And then when he kicks Dick out of the wagon and realizes that he's inside Dick's fantasy, Dick's head, that's when he finally wakes up. And when he wakes up, it's not Marge standing in front of him anymore. Now it's Shaw because some time has passed. So, yeah, that was really confusing. And it was, that's all due to Dick Halloran being able to do this trick. Tricky Dick, just like Pennywise called him. And I still don't quite understand how Dick Halloran is able to do this and how he's able to manifest those exact same thoughts. But we're talking about Pennywise here. We'll get to that question in a moment.
I mean, I think we saw something similar in Dr. Sleep when Ewan McGregor and the little girl who's in that, they go into Rose's mind and she thinks that they're in Danny's mind. Or she thinks she's in the little girl's mind and she's actually in Danny's mind. And when you're in there, they can manipulate your thoughts, I guess, and make you think you're in a different place.
Right, but he was he went into Pennywise's mind, though.
Right.
And so somehow he got into Bob Gray's mind with Bob Gray's stuff, too, I guess.
Because Bob Gray is still inside of him.
He just ate him. That's right. Okay. Well, he didn't just eat him, but he ate him. That's right. He told Ingrid that he's in his belly. So, okay, that makes sense then. So, he is kind of omniscient. He can answer questions as soon as they're asked, basically. We see that in this episode where somebody asks a question and then he throws a flyer at them and then that's the answer to their question. So yeah, I guess that answers that satisfies my answer that he's omniscient and he has Bob Gray's memories inside there, because that was one of my queries that I didn't quite understand. So I can accept that one. I'm okay with that one.
Right. It's a little bit of a reach, but it works.
But it works though. We got it. We grasped it.
All right. Well, I'm ready to move forward to our next little pair here.
Yeah, we'll Pennywise will come up again. Don't worry. Okay. I'm fine with that.
We're never worried about Pennywise. He's going to come up again. We'll be talking about him again. So we're going to move on to Rose and Taniel.
All righty. Rose, Mrs. The Earth is a Conductor. That's right. We all know that, Rose. I have a question for you, though, because this is something that you might be able to figure out using context clues, but I was not. She goes to help Dick. She decides, or she doesn't decide, she's part of the gang now. She's going to help Dick out, and she gives him this maturin root, and she gives him this warning. She's like, okay, you might get sleepy, but remember, don't. And then just like the girl with the bubble gum, her words get jarbled and we don't actually know what she said. Do you know what her warning was?
No.
Me neither. Listeners, let us know if you know what Rose's warning was, because it doesn't seem like, there was any rules where Dick went.
She made special tea. It's funny because since I was with my parents in the car, sometimes they like to listen to our podcasts, and we did a podcast on The Amazing Mr. Blunden.
Oh, they listen to that one?
Yes, we listened to that one because they're familiar with that movie.
Okay.
And we were Nate kept talking about the special tea in that movie that they mixed to time travel. And we were making jokes about how sometimes they say you time traveled by drinking alcohol or special tea. And then so here she makes this special tea. That was almost going to be my joke at the beginning when I introduced you, Steve, that she made this special tea to calm his visions, because where I thought you were going with it is the purpose of this tea was to calm the voices in his head. And because he was, all those dead people, the spirits were talking to him, and he was trying to get him. He needed a clear head. So she gave him the tea, but what exactly did it do?
I mean, it seemed like it closed the box again that Dick had because he stopped seeing the dead people that he didn't want to see.
Right. And she said when one door opens, another one closes. So was the door that was opened, was it a connection to the shard?
That's the only thing I could ascertain, is that he was opening a door to be able to connect with the shard, and that when he's able to do that, he closed the box lid onto like the spirits that he doesn't want to see. They didn't explain that at all, but that's just the assumption that I made when she said, you know, the door and opening and closing thing.
Yeah, and she says something about that it's a connection to evil, but not everything in there is evil. So that was interesting.
I think that was just foreshadowing seeing Rich and seeing the bareheaded Indian woman again, because they're definitely not evil. And I think that's what she was referring to. I'm really confused about that aspect, and we'll get to it when we get to it. But I believe that the doors being open and closed just have to do with the dagger and with not having to see those scary spirits anymore. And when he's not having to see those scary spirits anymore, then he can focus on his task better.
Yeah. So Rose gets to play warrior a little bit. You know, she's with the group. She's not at a meeting.
She's clutching a gun the whole time. Like even the last time we see her, she's got a Uzi on her.
Yeah, I was really hoping that there was going to be some sort of interaction with her and General Shaw at the end.
Yeah.
But there wasn't. They were just both on the ice, and he was focused on his work and she was focused on her nephew. But I would have thought that would be something they would have put in there.
Right? I mean, it seemed like it would make perfect sense to like wrap that up in some way, because they were really harping on that for at least 2 episodes. And it kind of went nowhere. So that was a little upsetting to me.
Yeah. All the things that they did wrap up and really wanted to make the connections, they left that one sort of open. Maybe it's because we're going to see these characters again in the past. I don't know. But that makes me sad. And Taniel's arc makes me sad, because I do feel like his character got ill-used by this show. Even with
maybe
renewed focus they gave Indigenous people in this show, it still feels like he came in, he was on the hill looking through his goggles, then he gets tortured, he goes back on the hill into the goggles, he gets called in, and he gets shot. I mean, why? I mean, that's upsetting.
I agree. It is. Like, the only thing, I was trying to go back and think about what he really did to, like, you know, add to the gang, to do his part. And the main thing he did basically was, you know, when Dick got into his mind and he learned where the pillars were. And other than that, he was just kind of an observer, just like us the whole time, just kind of watching everything that was going on and asking the same questions we were. He looked great while he did it. And I was really, I mean, you and I were both expecting a lot more from this guy. We were kind of theorizing, like, before the first episode came out, that he was going to be a big character and he was going to have, you know, a big part in this. And, you know, that was kind of a disappointment. He did manage to show up every episode. So that was, you know, that was kind of cool. We got to see him every episode, but not that much.
Yeah. I mean, somebody was theorizing that Taniel is in the It movies, the Muschietti movies, not this actor, but when they have the scene,
the character,
where Mike Hanlon is showing older Bill the shell and the piece of the shard that's in the future, that he was kind of his character was in that scene, but I guess not. He got shot, and I was kind of thinking, why did you have to, you know, really we have 2 characters in this show. We have Taniel and Rose that represent our Indigenous people. There were other people, but those were the 2 mains.
Yeah.
And of course, 50% of them had to die at the end.
I had really high hopes for this too, because at first you're like, okay, we got the dagger and we got Taniel and we got Leroy, the man without fear. and the two of them have the dagger, and they're going to take the magic dagger to the magic tree, and they're going to like do the thing, and it's going to be awesome. That's what I was thinking. Because like when they were like, yeah, we're teaming up, I'm like, hell yeah. This is like the team up we've been waiting for. Only to be shot down by the military right away.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was disappointing. They built Daniel up and then they shot him down.
Yeah. I mean, I thought everybody was going to die except for Leroy and Will Hanlon.
Exactly.
Everybody else, because we know that the cycle went terribly, or it should have gone terribly, but people complain about Stranger Things, how they don't want to kill off any of their characters, so their cast just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And here, almost the same thing. Like, I don't want our kid characters to die, but they killed one kid, which was our precious Rich, and then they killed Daniel. Everybody else lived to see another day and move on. I mean, we kept saying, will Lily please give the shard to somebody else? And she finally gives it to Mr. Hanlon. He gives it to Daniel. So yeah. This should have been a good team.
Yeah. That could have been the team up of the year. No dice there. I will say for Daniel and Rose, the brakes on their van, I mean, exquisite. Did you see? Like they're on ice and they're able to skid into a halt right in front of some kids before killing them. That was pretty amazing. Might as well head over to the end of this, because Rose, after Daniel dies, she doesn't want to keep up with her farm and all the goats and stuff. She wants a simpler life. So she wants to hand her livelihood over to the Hanlons. She wants to give up the farm.
And is this where she hands off the store to Stephen King?
Probably so. I guess it's going to happen behind the scenes.
I wasn't sure if she was leaving Derry or if she was just leaving the farm.
It seemed like she was leaving Derry to me.
Yeah. So maybe this is when she leaves the store to Stephen King. I don't know.
I mean, that's what happens. It's true.
Yeah. It did seem, I was glad that Rose is clearly heartbroken about Daniel's death. Maybe nobody else is, but she is. And it's deep enough that she doesn't want to keep up this farm anymore. I don't think, when she said it's harder, I don't think she just meant physically harder.
Well, yeah.
But
I think Daniel probably did do a lot of the heavy lifting out there, probably.
I'm sure he did.
You got those big old muscles. Come on.
Yeah. These were two good characters, and I'm sorry we will be losing them, but hopefully we'll have some more Shokopiwa people to look forward to in the future.
We shall see. Who you got next?
All right, Hank Grogan. He didn't do much this episode.
He didn't do much this season, Lindsay. I mean, he's a key character, but he himself didn't do a whole lot.
He was a victim. He was a victim of the system. He's getting arrested for a crime he didn't commit, and he was an impetus for the black spot incident. But I mean, he was there also almost every episode in some way or another. But this episode, he mainly was wringing his hands and being like, "Is that my Ronnie? Is my Ronnie there?"
He provided some much needed dialogue when someone needed to say another line. He was there for them. I was thinking that if I could be any character in this season, I would want to be Hank. Because first, I'm at the movie theater with my daughter, having a great time watching movies. I mean, just face it, I'm banging Ingrid. Like, we don't have a relationship. Like, we're just kind of doing our thing. And then, oh my God, I get arrested. That's terrible. But I'm in a cell by myself. I can read books and stuff. And then I'm in the black spot and I'm there like in the back room, again, hidden by myself. I can read all day or whatever. And then the fire, oh no, but I escaped. I'm fine. So, and then he gets his daughter back and then they leave and they go to Canada. I mean, perfect life.
He was at the jail by himself, but he also was offered cigarettes by his jailer.
That's true. I mean, yeah, he got smokes. That's even better.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly a hard time there in the prison.
No, I mean, they didn't show him getting harassed or really bullied a whole lot either. I mean,
That
he
was,
got heckled when he got on the bus. Oh, the bus
yeah,
thing must have been pretty scary. So I take that
yeah.
back.
But he never had to go to Shawshank.
Right.
Because that would be bad. The life in Shawshank was not great, especially if your accusation was child murder.
He should be thanking Pennywise for commandeering that bus then, because otherwise he'd probably still be in Shawshank to this day.
Mm-hmm.
But the bus was attacked, so he got out of there.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I will say is, Hank, why are you leaving your mama behind?
She came too. She was in the car.
I didn't see that. I just saw her handing him boxes. I thought she was just helping him load the car.
No, they all went together. The whole Grogan family went together.
Okay.
And they had another little shout out there. They talked about Natalie Wood and like some that could be another Easter egg. They talked about the magazines that Hank had, some movie magazines.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. She says, I think Natalie Wood should be in the back of the car where Ronnie is. I didn't understand what that meant.
So that Ronnie could read those magazines while she's on the road.
Okay.
Because I didn't understand it either. And that's the only thing I could ascertain is they were putting the magazines in the trunk and they were saying that they should have put them in the back seat so Ronnie could read them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I'm stretching here. I don't know.
All right. Anything more we want to say about Hank?
Nah, we like him. Have a good one, Hank.
Enjoy your life. Did they say where they were going?
Yeah, Canada. They're crossing the border.
Canada. Okay. All right. We're going to move on to General Shaw. Francis.
Salute. And we hear some taps now. He's gone, buddy. I was trying to think about this. What if the military had never showed up to Derry to do this whole operation?
Mm-hmm.
Pennywise would just have, he would have done the movie theater thing for sure. Or he would have killed Maddie. He probably would have done the movie theater thing. And that might have been it. He might have killed a couple more kids and then gone to sleep. So I think the military getting involved really mucked things up a whole lot. And we can blame Shaw for that.
I guess we can. I don't know. This is another character I feel sad about. He ended up being a really nasty character. And it makes me question, why did you show us this little boy at the circus with his dad?
I know.
You sold us on him. You made us think that he could be redeemed. And it was kind of sad I will say that lore, though, that they set up really made that sadness because when he sees the clown as an adult,
yes,
he's clearly excited the same way Ingrid was.
That's
he's
right.
Like, here's the thing from my childhood.
He loves Pennywise. He took his hat off out of respect.
He sure did. He took his hat off. He gave him a salute almost.
Yeah, I mean, the guy who played Shaw, I think, did a great job with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess it's not too terribly hard to play a military guy, but there is some nuance that he threw in here, especially when he faced Pennywise in this episode. I thought he did a good job of being a scared military guy. But you're right, because I was so invested in Rose and Shaw, and I was so sure that or I still am, actually, that will still happen when we go back to 1908 in the show, probably for the Easter egg hunt, the Kitchener Ironworks. We will see Shaw, and we will see Rose. And if they're smart, they'll play it off like the young kid Shaw has a little bit of shiftiness about him too, and you're not really too sure if you can trust what he's saying. And I think that, that potentially, has some meat to that. So they could play this character that way. Instead of just playing like a cute little boy that's going to fall in love with Rose, it could give him a lot of foreshadowing. Mm-hmm. But it is a bit of a waste of potential that we could have seen. We could have seen Shaw like, I'm going to give up the military and come with you, Rose. Yeah,
that was their opportunity there to maybe make it work. But I thought it was interesting that he seems to think he's going to get this get out of jail free card because he's going to let the entity go free. But
Oh, that was silly.
yeah,
Oh my God.
he says, you're free to go. You're free. As if Pennywise is controlled at all by the military. I think that was a trigger for Pennywise. Like, you give me my freedom.
I hope so. I mean, I was trying to think of a good parallel, and I guess it'd be like, Lindsay, you're free to go do a podcast with other people if you want to. You're free to have other guests. Okay, I'm going to grant you that. You're welcome.
But yeah, they have this kind of moment, and then Pennywise says, "I never forget a smell."
And he likes that smell.
My old friend, yeah.
Takes a big old bite.
And Rose wasn't there to save the day. That was the question I had. Will Rose be there to save the day again? She wasn't, because you killed her nephew.
I don't think Rose is going to be saving any days. Like, I mean, I don't have a whole lot. Well, yeah, we already talked about Rose, and I think like Rose, the future holds for her. She's going to do some crafts, and she's going to watch some TV, and the end.
Yeah. I don't understand the military's plan here, which, I mean, we've already said it's going to be a bad plan, but they showed up on the ice somehow, and they just decided, we're just going to shoot.
Yeah, randomly.
We're just going to shoot people.
They decided, like, at this moment, let's start shooting people, like, indiscriminately. But then once we stop doing this, let's never do that ever again. It kind of didn't make sense. Like, these are the exact same people you were shooting at before. So why are you not shooting at them now? I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you could say, Leroy Hanlon, Major Hanlon went AWOL. Taniel left them in the sewers and ran off. So both of them were kind of on the bad boy list already.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, both of them. Okay. Even so, even after they shoot Taniel in the neck, Leroy in the leg, they're both down, they still continue shooting at the children and at the van, which just leads to the whole thing. Like, I think one of the kids says it best. Like, I thought they were supposed to be the good guys.
You're wrong, kids. You're wrong. Yep. All right. Well, we can move on to our kids here. We've got Rich, Marge, Lily, Ronnie, and Will.
We got a lot of group hugs this episode, Lindsay. Lots. I saw at least 5 group hugs.
Not as many as last week, though, I feel like, but maybe.
Well, they're keeping it. They're keeping up the status quo of group hugs, I think. But yeah, a lot of that. I'm going to start with Rich.
Okay.
Because he got resurrected. He came back to lend a hand with the dagger and a finger. Remember, he gave Pennywise the finger, which everybody loves that. I mean, that might be like the screenshot of the episode of him running past Pennywise and giving him the finger. But this is an appropriate time to talk about this. Rich is brought back. I think it's undisputable that he's brought back by Dick Halloran, because I don't see how else he and the other spirit could have arrived. Do you have an explanation as to why Rich and this other spirit arrived?
Well, the chief is supposed to go where the shard goes.
Okay, that makes sense. Yes.
They mention, like, the indigenous people go where they are buried. And I think this tree is the home base of this shard, and it was removed from it. So the shard is supposed to, well, I might be going to, it's not right, is it? Because they said that it wants to go home. Yeah,
the tree is not where it's supposed to be. But I think you're right I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, I don't think that Dick summoned the person, but it's interesting that he asked the bear chief to help him find the kids. And so Rich is apparently tagging around with the bear chief, because they were with the kids in the fire, and she helped Dick Halloran find them. But I don't think he summoned them, because he's looking surprised. Rose notices the chief, and then Dick Halloran sees the chief, and she notices that he sees too, and he sees Rich there.
I don't think she sees them because she says, "What are you looking at?" And he says, "A motherfucking miracle."
Well, she hears the music and she turns her head, and then he turns his head. So I think she saw something. She didn't see Rich, though.
Okay, well, let's. I mean, I kind of like your explanation of, he asked the bearhead to lead him to the children. That makes sense. That Rich would be in that situation then. It still doesn't really satisfy me 100%. I still think it's kind of pulled out of Andy's ass here, Andy Muschietti's ass.
Yeah.
But I mean, that makes more sense than anything else I could come up with. And the show didn't give us any sort of explanation whatsoever. So I think that you deserve credit for that.
Well, I will just say this is one of the things I did not like.
Okay.
As much as I like Rich, I don't like this whole temporary Rich resurrection plot thread.
Me neither.
It seemed very cheap, not in line with the show, not in line with Stephen King's universe. Name one time he's had a spirit come back from the dead to help people. I don't
that
think
happens all the time in Stephen King's book. Mother Abigail, it happens all the time. But it could have been explained way better, and I'm not satisfied with it. So I tend to agree with you that it is kind of cheesy. It just feels like a
different genre than what we're looking for here.
Yeah.
In a way, it sort of goes with what they did, because remember that Stan Uris is the loser who's dead at the end. And they kind of bring him in, even with the adults, because they try to make it seem like, oh, he's not a coward. He's actually really brave. He knew he would hurt us, so he killed himself as an act of heroism. Do you remember that? I just don't see that in the books. It's more that Stan is so scared he can't make it. He can't do it.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a horrific thing, and it's cool, and it's a good story time. It's a good story device.
Yeah.
And this whole, oh, he was actually a hero, it seems like it's trying to do something really sentimental.
They call it reverse engineering, or not reverse engineering, but it's like they're trying to, there's a phrase for this, and I can't think of what it is.
Yeah.
When you try to go back and make something what it's not. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. And most things that happen in this episode that I don't like, I can see where it makes sense within the story, but this still doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, because Dick seeing Rich kind of makes sense, but then him seeing Rich at the funeral does not, because he was supposed to have the lid on that box and he's supposed to not being able to see any more dead people at all. So I'm on one hand, I'm glad Rich is back, because it's fun to have a character return, especially as flamboyantly as he returned this episode. But I'm just kind of not buying it. It just doesn't pass the test. And I think your explanation makes more sense than anything else. And even your explanation doesn't quite cover it. Since we're still talking about Rich, we see his funeral. And I'm thinking about Rich's parents during this funeral. First off, this strange girl stands up and who barely knows Rich and makes this really nice speech. And they're probably wondering, like, who is this girl and where are her parents? We haven't seen her parents this entire season. And then their interaction with Dick Halloran afterwards as well. And I'm just thinking of myself, if I was at my child's funeral and then some stranger came up to me and was like, oh, they're standing right behind you. Yep, they got their hand on your shoulder. They're going to follow you forever. I'd be like, okay, crazy person, I'm in the middle of mourning here. I don't need you to convince me of this. And they just accepted it so willingly and so wholesomely that it kind of, again, didn't pass the smell test with me.
I did like the funeral. I thought it was sweet. Whether or not, I didn't think about how the parents would have felt at the funeral, but I did like the part that he was there, and that didn't bother me for some reason. But yeah, Rich showing up to help with bury the thing, that whole thing seemed really odd to me too. Like, that it would be this hard. I know they wanted a conflict, they wanted a challenge, that yes, it's not going to be easy for you to defeat the entity, to put this shard in its resting place. But there could have been something other than for about 15 minutes, kids holding a shard and trying to put it in the ground.
Yeah.
That whole thing was just very silly. And having magnetic radioactive waves coming off of it.
And where the shard ended up, it was in plain view of anybody who's like fishing at the lake. You know what I mean? It's just there by the tree roots.
It's not even normally this foggy. They're just going to have a big triangle sticking out of the ground.
I guess.
Somebody's going to have to take Daniel's spot to watch with the goggles now, the binoculars.
Well, he had his buddy, the cousin. So I guess his cousin's going to have to step up and grow his hair out and start being the peeper.
I thought it was sweet. I think the reason why I liked the Rich beat at the end with his parents is because of Dick Halloran, and it sort of ties in with his arc, which we'll talk about later. We're going to talk about Dick Halloran later. He's had some big growth in this series. Should we move on to Marge?
Yeah, absolutely. She cussed a lot this episode. She said a lot of bad words.
She said a lot of bad words. I only really remember the one, but yeah.
She was saying shit and fuck all over the place, like at least 5 times. Like her actress, I bet whoever plays her was probably like so ecstatic to say all these bad words and to be part of this. But yeah, I like her thing because I have to like this. When Ronnie was like giving her crap because she only has one eye and she's like, I can drive with one eye. Yes. Yeah. I'm living proof of this. Yes, you can drive with one eye. It's totally fine. So I'm totally on Marge's side.
I think out of all of the kids, Marge has the best, performance out of everybody in this episode.
Oh, hands down. Yeah.
She's delightfully rebellious at this point. But the dialogue for all of these kids is so bad this episode that it just feels like nobody gave it a second edit, because I was thinking, how many times do you have to say the word guys? I don't even know
if they said guys back in 1962, if girls called themselves guys. I don't think they did.
There was the 3 girls, when the 3 girls are, scheming, one of them goes, guys. And then another one says, guys.
Guys, over here. Look over here.
Yeah. And that did make me feel like it was a young show. And even the way at the end when Marge and Lily are talking about explaining the time travel, and she says, he told me something. Well, what if comes back to do our parents? It felt so paid by numbers. It was really bad. So. And I feel like these kids deserve better, and I've seen them perform better. So I know they put the emphasis for this episode on special effects, but why? Why did you have to make the script like this for this, especially for these kids at the end? I almost don't have, besides Marge, I almost don't have much to say about any of these kids this episode, because it's all just action and moving from point A to point B.
Well, Marge does have some cool action. She gets yoinked by Pennywise, which that's a neat little effect. I thought that was a fun one when he does a little fake like cartoon arm and yoinks her and actually makes a little yoink noise. I like that.
I said besides Marge.
Oh, I know you did. You did. But I'm saying that's like one of my notes about Marge is that like she gets that thing going on. Mm-hmm. And my biggest note about Marge too is like, I think that's how you opened the episode. You were talking about how I'm Mr. I Told You So. And the way that they gave us the confirmation that she is Richie Tozier's mom was once again very on the screen, paint by numbers. Let me pull out a diagram and show you exactly what I mean kind of thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't a really fun reveal. It was I don't know. I guess it was a really clinical reveal, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, it made it crystal clear.
I mean, there's no doubt in anyone's minds.
For the people on Facebook that keep saying, oh, she's this person's parent, Well, they've confirmed it. They said the last name and everything, and even had a picture of Finn.
I mean, couldn't make it any more clear than they did. I mean, they should have just shown her like as an adult giving birth, and then like, I don't know. We talked about Rich's funeral. There were probably a lot of funerals in Derry this week, right? Like after the
Yeah.
black spot.
Well, I was confused that the funeral was here at the end because Rich was, and maybe I'm just forgetting how everything timed out, but I would have thought they already had the funeral because it just felt like, well, wait a second. How long has it been since the black spot incident? Because I thought
I
the
think it was
funeral had
yesterday.
already happened. Okay.
I think the black spot was yesterday in the story, and then
Hmm.
the next day this fog rolls in.
Right. And Marge is obviously in charge of the entire funeral. She's the main speaker. There's no pastor. It's just Marge.
And she has his drumsticks, and she's the one who lays his drumsticks on his casket too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, she's the funeral director.
But I did like her speech. I thought it was sweet. She talks about the friends who make a home in your heart. I thought that was a nice line.
I like the line better where she said that there's no good friends or bad friends. There's just friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that one stuck with me more. I like that line.
Yeah. I think there was something about the idea that I've only known him a month.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter. It's not the length of time, it's the quality. She doesn't say that, but I thought it was nice because it kind of gives me this feeling that he's going to be in her heart permanently, which explains why she would name a son after him.
Yeah.
But then also, it almost makes her like a Mary figure because it's like Pennywise is the Archangel Gabriel telling her you're going to have a son named Richie. So
okay, all right, I can see this.
You would think she might want to be defiant and say, "I'm not going to name him Richie.
Exactly.
I'm going to name him something else to foil
I'm going to
your
steer
plan."
clear of anyone named Tozier the rest of my life. Yeah.
Well, it's probably one of those fake relationship things where you don't know who the person hid their identity, and she lives her whole life going, I'm not going to date anyone with the last name of Tozier, but he's been hiding the last name for whatever reason.
My name's not Dozier, it's Tozier. Oh
no. But yeah, I thought Marge gave real rebel girl energy here at the end. So
we got plane closure finally.
Yeah, we had a plane. It didn't happen like the way I could have stood to that to be a little more on the nose.
But it made it to Main Street. We at least got a little closure out of it. We got a smile.
Yeah. All right. Anything we want to say about Lily? Lily, she finally lets go of the dagger.
Well, she's forced to. It's like the whole magic phrase of like the lifeboat that breaks the spell.
Right.
'Twas friendship that thawed the monster's heart.
Yeah, so it is good. She kind of figures that out. But yeah, I mean, I was getting tired of the thing about the dagger because it falls on the ground, and I think it's Marge or Ronnie's gonna pick it up, and she's like, "Don't touch it."
Well, I mean, we get story out of it. We learn why, because it's getting further and further away from where it's supposed to be, so it's getting mad and stuff. So they kind of explain a little bit, I guess. I'm happy that she didn't end up in Juniper Hill getting a lobotomy, which was everybody's guess. Everybody thought that's where Lily was going to end up, or they thought Lily was going to be Beverly's mom.
Beverly's mom, yeah.
Neither one. She's just going to grow up and be a nice Lily Bainbridge, and that's that. I don't know if she's going to stay in Derry or not, because we don't have any Bainbridge children in the 80s or 90s or whatever it is. But, we know she lives and she doesn't end up in Juniper Hill, and that's good enough for me.
Well, a speculation that I'm wondering is if we're going to see in the next cycle, the 1935, which would be the previous cycle, the 1935, if we're going to see either her mom or her dad or both. Because...
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. I mean, it might be one or the other, but we've met Mrs. Bainbridge. We've only met Mr. Bainbridge through his pickle self.
But I mean, Pennywise and Marge pretty much confirmed that he's going to go back in time and try to off their parents to stop this whole cycle from happening. So,
well, the line is, what if it comes after our parents? So it seems like pretty on the nose that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I liked when all three of the girls, before they got into the milk truck, they tried to triple up on that bike.
Did that
That
make
was
you
great.
think of Did that make you think of Dark with like Bartosh and Martha, but it wasn't as smooth?
Well, no, it made me think of me being a kid and me doing the exact same thing with my friends. How many people can we get on this bike, and how far can we go with like 5 guys on one bike? It's fun. I mean, it was neat, and I'm glad they were realistic enough to like not let that happen. That was one thing that was realistic in this show, was that 3 girls on a bike is not going to work.
Yeah, but is it realistic that Marge could be able to drive a stick shift by watching?
A little doubtful there. There's other things that I think are more doubtful. That one's a little doubtful. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When they were following that trail of blood, they were like walking directly in the blood, which I thought was not smart.
Mm-hmm. You brought up the dagger. I wanted to ask you something. So we're saying that this spot that they put the dagger is not the original spot.
Right.
So where was the original spot for this shard?
Just to the north, on the north side of the river. Like when she shows the map, she shows the spot where the tree is, and then directly across the river is from where the original dagger was taken. Not the original dagger, where the pillar was taken.
Yeah. I think that's a little confusing to me because I would think there would be one pillar in each spot.
Yes.
But she showed it as a circle.
Mm-hmm.
So this piece of shard was in the sewer. How did it get there?
This piece of shard was in the sewer? They dug it out of the ground.
The one that Lily has been holding, she found it in the sewer, remember?
After Taniel dropped it, yeah.
Okay, but it was in Rose's safe.
Yes, that's right.
So why did they take it out of...
Oh, because the pillar is gone now. They destroyed the pillar that was in the ground. The military dug up the pillar, so it's gone. So they said, Rose is like, well, we can use the dagger as a pillar. The dagger will replace the pillar that the military destroyed.
Okay.
They technically should have put it back in the exact spot that was, but they had to put it back at the tree because that's where Pennywise was heading.
Okay. Because I wouldn't think it would be in a circle. I would think it would be in like a star shape, but okay.
Nope, big old circle. Circle gets a square.
And I think it's Marge and Ronnie both, they kind of help Lily to wake up from her stupor here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two-handed effort.
Yeah. I don't have too much to say about Ronnie, but I did notice that at the end she had her 2 lollipops again.
Yes, I noticed that too. And she should have been doing that the whole show, in my opinion, but she only did it during her first episode and then her last episode. But it was enough to make me happy.
It's hard to talk with lollipops in your mouth, Steve.
Yeah, that one patty cake can attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
But what did I have to say about Ronnie? She said the lifeboat phrase, which lifted the spell, so that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she's gonna leave Derry. In the book, I told you that Veronica Grogan dies in the book, right. But in our story here, she doesn't die. She's heading to Canada with her dad, and Will's going to write her to hopefully keep her, remembering stuff about Derry. So maybe they'll maintain their relationship, and we'll see more of. I don't know if we'll see more of that later because they're going backwards in time now, but maybe in the future they'll keep up and they'll eventually sire a young Mike. Who knows?
They could, but we won't ever see that because, in the next time period, we've already seen the next time period, and by then, Will Hanlon is dead.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get any more of this particular Hanlon.
Nah.
Yeah, and I mean, Will, again, he doesn't really get a lot to do with this episode either because he's dead-lighted for half of it.
That's right. But he's like the line leader, though. He's like the first kid in line of that whole little parade.
But he was going to go Gollum himself when he got a hold of that shard. He was ready to go off.
That's right.
And that took all 4 of them. He's like, turn me around.
Yeah,
That
that's
was,
right. It got to him really quick, and I guess the only thing I could think of is that because he was like the furthest point away, and the dagger knew that it was about to be buried somewhere different, so it was mad, and
yeah.
so it got extreme on Will, I suppose.
Well, he's also probably pretty weak too from his
Yeah,
ordeal of being hypnotized and brought all that way, and it's cold, and they were
Dad, I'm
out
scared.
there with
I'm scared, Dad.
they were out there with not appropriate clothes for how cold it was.
None of them. That's right. And it was only Dick Halloran that was talking about how cold it was. Nobody else was except for him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've already said this, but I think it was silly that it was that hard to bury that shard. They could have put another challenge in there besides, I don't know, force, invisible
Yeah,
force.
I'm not
Yeah,
going to disagree with you. I mean,
yeah.
it's just supposed to show us the power of this dagger, and you know
Hmm.
that if it was Taniel and Leroy, they'd have no problem with that sucker. I bet.
Well, okay. So, anything else you want to say about our kids before we?
Sure, yeah, they got some smooching happening this episode. Like Ronnie did the thing where Will was in the middle of a sentence, and then she just like attacked kissed him like this like
Mhm.
interrupting surprise kiss. That's not really a good way to kiss people, is it, Lindsay?
Sometimes when they're distracted, that way they can't
Mid
stop you.
sentence?
They, there was no time to think about should we do this or not. And I thought I was going to hear Charlotte going, "Oh, you think you've grown now?" That's what she said last time when they were to get a kiss on the street.
Oh
And
yeah.
she's like, "Will Hanlon," and then they in the garden. She's like, "You think you've grown now?" Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, there was smooching at the end.
Yep. And Will didn't have to do anything at all. Like Ronnie did all the work for him. So once again,
I feel like that's usually how it happens. They say the girl decides. That's what they say.
I mean, that makes sense to me. It makes sense to Ronnie and Will also. Because Will was not going to make any sort of move whatsoever. He was just going to ask her if she, wanted to read a science book or something.
Do you want to write letters? I forget what the conversation was even about that they were
Oh, the
having.
stink bomb. They were talking about the stink bomb
Oh yeah.
and having a laugh.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that stink bomb.
That's how they became friends. They're reminiscing about their first day together.
Detention.
Yep.
Okay, well, we were talking about Charlotte. We can move on to Charlotte. Charlotte
Yeah,
and Leroy here together.
I think that Charlotte gave the most convincing performance of the season, perhaps, when she started freaking out on Leroy when he came in the house and she finds out Will's gone. I was really convinced by that performance, actually.
Convinced in what way?
That she was really pissed and that she was angry and that she was, she convinced me. Like, compared to some of the other reactions that we see in this episode,
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is like the most convincing performance.
Yeah. Well, she was pretty upset that Leroy didn't do his job. He was supposed to make sure that that Will stayed at home.
That's right. And yeah, he had a pretty floppy excuse there because he was like, "It's sleeping. It's all good now." But yeah, he should have known a little bit better than that, or at least should have been like making sure Will was with somebody all the time as well. That would have been helpful.
Mm-hmm. The adults all go on the rescue mission to find the kids. In some ways, I question this. It's nice to see adults. On the one hand, it's nice to see adults involved in these shows that deal with horror because a lot of times a big part of horror involving teenagers or youth is that the parents are never around.
Right.
They're leaving the kids vulnerable. And so it's nice to have that, but it's also a little strange that we have adults in this Stephen King universe to the extent that we do, what we have in this season. But everybody's involved here. We have Hank Grogan, we've got, Rose and Tanya, we got Dick Halloran, we got the Hanlons, and they're all in a van. But for what it was, I liked especially, Charlotte was out there on the ice holding the gun too, but Leroy really, again, laid it down here. He put his neck on the line. for his kids. And he has that nice, I think he had a really nice speech with his son where he tells him, you don't have to be like me. You know, you should be yourself. And I love you just the way you are. And that was a good moment for Will, because I feel like he thinks he's been a disappointment to his dad because he's into science instead of sports. He's into his brain instead of physical prowess. And Leroy affirms his choice to do that.
Yeah, Leroy's supposed to be the man without fear, too. And I saw like a lot of fear in him this episode. It seemed like he was scared a lot, and there was a lot of emotion coming off of him. And I'm not sure if we ever really got the real payoff of like the man without fear, like he was played up to be, the missing part of his brain that processes fear. Yeah, so I was disappointed in that respect with Leroy. I was hoping that would come into play a little bit more. I do think that like his relationship with Charlotte and Will has been a little topsy-turvy. And like, I agree with you about the moment that he had with Will and the sincerity of it. And then he's had other moments with Will that are just as sincere and just as nice. And then he has these other moments where he's just not himself at all. He's very much when I hear somebody say a man without fear, I'm thinking somebody with cold emotions and that can handle anything. And I don't see that in this guy. I'm seeing an emotional guy. I'm seeing a loving guy. I'm seeing an angry guy sometimes. And I think that fear ties in with all of those. So, yeah, there's a couple times that he does usurp authority, especially in this episode. He leads this little overthrow here. He ends up with an honorable discharge, though. Not a dishonorable discharge, but an honorable discharge.
Right. And I wonder who was doing the discharging. Was it Fuller?
Right.
Because
good question.
Yeah, because Shaw is no longer in the picture. So that kind of leaves Fuller as the only witness still left.
That's right. Yeah, he's still out there. Nothing happened to him. He was definitely a survivor. And I was wondering, they explained to us what happened with Leroy with his honorable discharge, but they don't explain to us about Dick Halloran. They just basically say, yeah, I got a job at a hotel. But they don't say like, you know, how he got out of the military or whether it was honorable, dishonorable, whether he quit, whether he was kicked out.
Didn't he say something about, I have to keep quiet? Didn't Dick Halloran say something about that?
Not that I recall.
I mean, they got to get rid of both of these guys. They can't, because they know too much at this point. Got to cut them loose.
Oh, they be in the military, not they, the show writers. I thought you meant like the show writers. We got to write them off here real quick here.
No. I mean, the military is these two guys. They know too much and they've seen too much.
He must have an honorable discharge too, because I remember Shaw was telling Fuller, because if Fuller is like in charge now, the last thing he heard from Shaw was like, we don't care about Hanlon, but Dick Halloran, you know, that guy's important. So I can only assume that he got honorable as well.
Going back to your statements about the man without fear.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been established, though, that his lack of fear is more of an instinct thing about his personal safety. That when it comes to his personal safety and taking risks, he's able to do that without fear. But I mean, I'm not a brain doctor, but I wonder if I had time to do Google research, I would find that there are different parts of the brain that are used when it comes to your personal safety versus your empathy gene for caring about somebody who's in your care. Because he was able to think pretty quickly when he was facing the gun down in his room. You know, that's when he didn't feel fear. And also when he's with Dick Halloran flying over where the shards are or the pillars are, and Dick Halloran's about to jump off the plane, he like goes to get him.
Okay.
It is when it's impacting Will that he cares. So maybe that's a different section of the brain that wasn't damaged.
Yeah, I can appreciate your response, but I just think that he didn't do enough as a character to really warrant that whole plot point. It was kind of unnecessary. They could have just said, hey, this guy Leroy Hanlon, he's pretty tough. and left it at that. They didn't have to do this whole brain injury thing.
Right. Yeah, maybe they didn't follow through with it as well as they could. But we didn't talk about the moment yet where he goes into Dick Halloran's room. I thought that was a good
on my
scene
mind
too.
next. Yes.
Yes. So what do you want to say about it?
Actually, what I want to say pertains more to Dick than Leroy. Leroy did the right thing there, of course. He saved Dick's life. The way he saved Dick's life, though, was by reminding him about Will and about, Will's safety. And that's when Dick Halloran decides not to kill himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, Leroy is the messenger of that. So he deserves all the credit for that. But I think that if he had failed to mention Will's name, then he might have witnessed, Dick killing himself in front of him. And I think that he was wise to bring up Will because it shows the selflessness of this individual.
Right. And he also, that took an instinct, like he knew what he needed to say. But Dick Halloran actually pointed the weapon at him a couple times.
That's right.
Which goes back to man without fear. So there is something there. They could have They could have followed it through maybe better than they did. But I think not everybody would be willing to go into a room like that. So he mentions Will's name, but he also says, I'll pull the trigger if you want after. He's kind of saying, help me, and then I can help you. I'll do anything in my power to help you. So if you want to die afterwards, I'll be happy to oblige.
I forgot about that part. That's pretty wild. Hopefully he was lying when he said that.
Yeah. I mean, like a good hostage negotiator.
Right.
He's like, what does this guy want? What can I grant him? But yeah, he brought up Will, and that was his opportunity to stop. But he was quick on his feet, and he thought of something, and he also went in there without fear for his own safety because
I guess that's true. Okay.
Because Dick Halloran could have shot him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also just think the way he interacted on the ice was good too, because he sort of puts himself on the line. Like he tells his son, hey, it's up to you. I want you to take this and go to bury it. So that's a moment of growth for him, because he's been so much like, no, you stay here and don't put yourself.
Okay.
So he had to he knew that he was shot, and also the military were going to come after him, but they might, even though the kids were holding a glow in the dark dagger.
Yep.
For some reason they didn't see that.
Good point.
But yeah, he allows his son to kind of do that part where he is standing back, and he's been shot. Daniel's been shot. So he kind of knows the kids maybe have a better chance. And then he's sitting there also trying to shoot Pennywise and seeing that this creature regenerate over and over again.
He doesn't try, he succeeds.
Well, he shoots, but he doesn't succeed in that it takes the creature down. He keeps regrowing body parts.
If it wasn't for him shooting him, then Pennywise would have made it to the kids before they got the dagger in there. He's a good shot too, I gotta say.
He's a good shot, and that's him staying cool under pressure.
All right, you're proving this point for him. Congratulations, you did it. And the last thing I gotta say about Leroy and Charlotte is, well, here, try to logic this one away, Lindsay. Leroy and Charlotte Hanlon is the one who makes the final decision. Like you said, it's women who make the decision. Charlotte was like, we should stay in Derry. How?
Yeah.
Can you make any sense of that?
No.
Because I cannot.
No, the only thing I can think of is plot.
Yeah. We need a sheep farm. Here we go.
But that seems silly, because they could have just, shot when he was a kid. He moved away from town, and then he came back to Derry. So just because Major Hanlon becomes a sheep farmer doesn't mean he has to be a sheep farmer right this second. He could have left town and then, has to come back for whatever reason in the future. But yeah, it's not reasonable at all that this couple who care about their son would allow their kid to grow up in Derry unless they just don't understand. But I mean, Rose is there, so she understands that there's a cycle. I guess they're just thinking in 27 years. Does she tell them that? I think she says,
she says,
I'll, oh my God.
27 years of peace. That's right.
Especially the way Charlotte is. You would, it does not make sense at all that they would stay.
None.
And be a sheep farmer. Nope.
Yep. That's the last point I had about them. And you weren't able to bring any logic to it. So it remains illogical that they stay in Derry.
Not just illogical, but it's another thing where the machetes are kind of pounding the wrong mallet with the handle. They're pounding the wrong thing with the hammer. It's like
I don't follow your words, but I do know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it's like we have to fit these pieces in a way that makes it really obvious what's going to happen next, so that any idiot can figure it out.
Yep. Especially with Marge's little soliloquy at the end there. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And our last character here is Dick Halloran.
The man. Yeah. The man who lived.
The boy who lives.
He not only lived, not only succeeded his mission here. Well, I mean, did he succeed his mission? I mean, he kind of, but he was able to do the mind lock thing with Pennywise, and he was able to slap Pennywise, and we were able to see visions of the birth of Pennywise as well. So, I mean, I think this is pretty significant. I'm sure you know how we have a mutual friend, Freddie, who likes to take scenes from the show Dark we like and put music to the scenes. And if somebody's a big fan of Welcome to Derry or Pennywise, they have so much material to use just with this episode alone. But I believe that I don't know, that whole scene with Pennywise being born in that wagon was wonderful. And it was Dick's creation. Dick did that. So that's the guy we're talking about now. That's why I'm bringing it up.
So what are you talking about exactly?
The scene with...
You said he was born in the wagon. What do you mean?
Pennywise. He's talking about his life. He's talking about his death. And he's like, is my birth and my death the same thing? And we're supposed to be seeing the birth of Pennywise. That's supposed to be the moment that he embodies the spirit of Pennywise in that wagon, is when Bob Gray dies and then Pennywise wakes up in his body. That's not really what happens, but we see visuals of that. We see Pennywise being born for the first time.
I am not following this at all.
It's just a strange trip I'm on right now, Lindsay. You got to take the same drugs I'm taking to be able to follow this one.
I do not see this at all. Yeah. I think that what we're seeing in the wagon is a memory that Dick Halloran manufactures. Not even a real memory.
No, you're right.
Because he says, I'm not Bob Gray. So that didn't really happen.
No, it didn't, but it was on the screen.
Was dragged off by wolves.
There were visuals that was on the screen. They're these things, we saw them in this episode. Whether or not they happened is immaterial. It's we saw it. So these images exist. That's the point I'm trying to make when I was bringing up our friend Freddie, is we have so much cool visuals here. And that moment could be argued as the birth of Pennywise. The first time that Pennywise, even though it's Dick Halloran's hallucination, yes, I don't discount that. But in and of itself, it's cool.
I'm not understanding at all why you're saying that's the birth of Pennywise.
Okay, I mean, I'll drop the point then, because I can't explain it any more than I have. But I mean, I stand by my words.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Dick Halloran. Dick Halloran, this selfless individual who loves Will. He wants to keep tabs on Will and Charlotte. But he wants to keep that a secret for some reason.
Yeah. It's don't let anyone know about it. But yeah, he had a nice arc in this season.
Yeah, the whole season.
Beginning, we see him as this disinterested party. I mean, he's grown up in an abusive home. The military is using him for his skills. He's using the military right back.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting special privileges, and he's pretty selfish. He's really just interested in himself, what he can get out of this, and not investing too much in anyone. By the end, we see that he is connected to this group of people. He feels a special kind of way for these Hanlons. He loves Little Rich. He showed up for his funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And he wouldn't normally have done that. And I feel like we're seeing the birth of Dick Halloran as we know him from The Shining.
That's right. Exactly.
The one that loves kids and would do anything to rescue a child in his care. And I feel like they did a nice job with his overall arc and where they left him makes it a little more clear how he got to be the Dick Halloran that's in The Shining.
That's right. Yep. I had the exact same thoughts too. It's like he was going to commit suicide, but then he's like, no, Will needs me, so I need to stay alive. And then he's like, I'm going to leave this town, but I still kind of want to keep tabs on this family that I helped because I care about them. And yeah, that carries over to Danny and how he cares about Danny and wants to help him. So yeah, I absolutely love how they threw that in there.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything else to say about Dick Halloran?
I mean, that we haven't already said, I'm not sure. Like, I mean, I can just wrap it up by saying that, we are going to see the Dick Halloran that we have come to know from Dr. Sleep and from The Shining. We've seen a big arc of his growth in this show that leads to that I think ties in nicely to it. So that even though we weren't exactly loving this last episode, and maybe we won't look back on the season like 100% fondly, but we're definitely going to look back on this, I guess, exposition of Dick Halloran and Pennywise the Clown. They really have succeeded in these two characters and showing like cool arcs and their beginnings and like where they're going to go to.
Mm-hmm. I would say out of all of the characters that showed up, Dick Halloran really feels like he belongs in this series. And he always was part of it. He was a character. He knew about it. Dick Halloran knows about the black spot. And he's mentioned in a book. I can't remember which one now that he's mentioned in. But
The Shining.
The Shining, yes. Okay, so it feels like he should have been in this book all along, in this story all along. He fits in perfectly. It's not forced at all. So all the other characters that I'm talking about that feel somewhat forced or some of the things they do don't seem natural, Dick Halloran is not one of them. I think what I was going to say that I was losing as he winks at the end, and I thought that was nice because remember he kept winking at Leroy, and he winks at the end, and I can't remember if he winks in The Shining, but
he does. He winks in Dr. Sleep and The Shining. Yes, okay. He's a winker.
All right. Well, there's your video cue, Freddie. You can make a video of Dick Halloran all the times he winked. So I lied. We do have a couple more characters here. We have mainly Beverly Marsh and Elfrida Marsh. So how much money do you think they paid Sophie Lillis to show up here at this 5 seconds?
Did she have any lines? She might have just gotten like extra work here where like she just got paid as an extra. I'm kidding.
I'm surprised that, I mean, she had lines, but all of the lines that she was saying were spoken off camera, like as Ingrid Kirsch is.
That's right.
Camera's on her, and she's going, "Somebody help her! Somebody help her!"
She's background. That's it.
So we just see the back of her head, and then she turns it around, and there she is.
I gotta think that's the only reason this episode is called Winter Fire. Yeah. I fully believe that is because Beverly Marsh shows up at the end. Because otherwise, there's no fire. And it's not the wintertime. Even though he makes it cold, it's not the wintertime.
Yeah.
So it's got to be for Beverly.
It's dumb. If I could give a worst moment of the episode, it would probably be this. And part of it, maybe I wouldn't have hated it as much, but like I said, this moment was spoiled weeks ago. Somebody decided to leak this picture online, whether it was Reddit or Facebook or maybe all of them. So I don't know what's going on there, HBO Max. Your press has leaks. You need to fix that or stop giving people, these YouTubers, early access to these
Yeah.
episodes if they're gonna spoil it. But yeah, it's like Elfrida Marsh is a patient at Jupiter Hill. She's been a patient several times and has made more than one suicide attempt because they make the comment, she finally did it. She finally killed herself. So this isn't the first time that they've come out to take care of her or gotten a report about her. And then we see a young girl and a man crying and sobbing as this woman's body is hanging up. I'll tell you what I thought, Steve. I thought 100% this woman was Ingrid.
Right. Me too.
That's what I thought was really going to happen, is that Ingrid hangs herself, and that confirms that the Mrs. Kirsch we see isn't the real Mrs. Kirsch. It's Pennywise.
Right.
I don't know who the girl or the man was supposed to be, but that's what I thought. So no, it's not. It's Beverly Marsh and Elfrida Marsh.
It was maybe another Easter egg, how like her dad shrugs her off of her shoulder, like in this motion, like get your hand off me.
Yeah.
Because we know her dad is like abusive towards her. So that little motion kind of confirms that to us.
Yeah. Which makes no sense. I mean, it makes sense. We know he's abusive, but why would he do that when his wife just died and she's comforting him? I don't know.
They just wanted to just to remind you that he sucks.
Yeah.
That's it. Just with one motion, just he sucks, remember? Yeah, we remember.
And the security at Jupiter Hill is airtight because Ingrid Kirsch is just allowed to wander down the hall into anybody's room, even if they've just killed themselves. There's no orderlies that are guiding her or saying, keep this room clear, everybody.
It's the 80s, man. Come on. It's all good. But yeah, it is a little disappointing how we don't get any of like the Mrs. Kirsch confirmation. So now we know that like that woman in the movie was just Pennywise all along. I mean, I think we've already gone through this earlier, like about 2 hours ago when we were talking about this exact same thing. It didn't really ring any bells for me, I suppose.
Okay. Right. So what did you think about the special effects in this episode? We have like the giant bird. We have the fog. You've had some complaints about the CGI. Did you have complaints about the bird? I liked the bird.
No,
myself.
The bird was great. I actually think I was thinking it looked more like a dragon, and I was like, oh, HBO loves dragons. So I guess that's why they put a dragon in here, because of Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon and stuff. Because I thought it looked more like a dragon than a bird personally, especially those wings. No, I had no issue with any CGI we saw in this episode, I don't think. No, I take that back. I still don't like Pennywise's big razor teeth mouth. When he does that thing where he like has the big like 3 rows of teeth, not a fan of that. Just doesn't look cool. I mean, I'd be scared if it came at me, but looking at it on TV, it doesn't really do much for me. Everything else did, though. Even like when he was doing like the unnecessary like unveiling of all his different manifestations. I mean, I thought that was well done, and you could tell it was CGI because of all the drippy stuff coming off of it. But even so, it looked cool, and it kept me in the story. I think all in all, just the look of Pennywise, more than anything else, is the most striking thing about this show. More than the CGI, more than any special effects. Just the look that they were able to achieve with Pennywise, especially with this mostly red and the white eyes look he has. I mean, I think that's super successful. And I think that image will pay off in the long run. They'll have plenty of T-shirts and stickers sold of that image.
Yeah. I like the bird. I think a lot of people were upset that the bird didn't show up at the black spot.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Because that's when in the books,
I'm upset now too.
Sees it. In the books, Will sees it when he's a tween, and it's a bird with giant balloons on its wings. And then later Mike sees it when he's attacked as a baby. And in the Muschietti movies, he's supposed to see it in the movies too. But
he was at the black spot too. The bird was at the black spot because in the book, one of the survivors of the black spot talks about how we saw a big bird take somebody away. I think it might have been, it was Leroy or Mike, Leroy or Will, one of the two of them.
Yeah, it's in the books is when the bird shows up.
At the
So
black spot, yeah.
they put it in the TV show, but they put it at the end instead of the black spot incident. And it was a cool special effect. Yeah, it looks more like a pterodactyl or a raptor than a bird, but that seems, it's going to be a bird that is horrifying. But yeah,
it worked for me.
I thought the fog looked really creepy. The circus parade, the tree that they're going to. So I thought the production design was really good.
Yeah, no complaints here on that.
Yeah. All right, I think we're ready to rate our episode. So we're gonna have
okay.
Unless you, I'm sorry. I have what I'll just tell you what I have here at the end. I have rate the episode, rate the season.
Oh no! I'm not surprised by that. I'm just saying. Oh no, I got to rate the episode.
Okay. Yes, here we are.
Because it's scary. I guess me first then. The way you're pausing. Okay. All right. Yeah, like I said, it was a little foggy in this one. I think I'm gonna have to go back to the beginning, because I gave the first episode a 2 out of 5. I think I'm going to give this last episode 2 turtles out of 5 as well. I've been giving these last few episodes 5 turtles each, 4 turtles each. Like, I've been loving it. I was really invested. Even last episode, I was totally into it. I think that the fog has lifted and I'm out of the deadlights now. I have clarity. So I'm just going to give this episode 2 out of 5 turtles. How about yourself, Lindsay?
I'm going to give this episode 3 out of 5.
Okay.
I really wanted to like this finale more than I did. And I thought it had, and I think I've made it clear in this podcast, there's many things I liked about it. The production design, the horror elements, some of the characters, but the dialogue was so bad. And just some of the plot holes felt so hammered in. There was plot holes, and then there were plot things they tried to hammer in that feel forced, that shouldn't happen in a season finale.
Yeah, it sucks when things don't end strong, Yeah. Especially something you're enjoying. If it doesn't have a strong ending, it kind of hurts a little bit.
I mean, I definitely enjoyed watching it last night. I was very excited to watch
me too.
Finale. I had my giant Diet Coke and my bowl of popcorn for real. I was actually eating butter popcorn and enjoying every single bite and enjoying every moment of the show. But then when I had to really look at it, honestly, I just thought, oh, there's things that just make me flinch. Okay, so we are going to now rate the season as a whole.
All right. Okay. Yeah, Stephen King's universe, Stephen King's stuff. A lot of times, the premises of his books, as much as I love them, are really silly. Straight up. Okay, we have a cemetery and you bury your pet there, they come back to life. Wow. We got this evil clown that comes alive every 27 years and kills kids. I mean, they're flimsy premises. What I've realized with Stephen King and with a lot of his shows and movies too, is the characters are the lifeboats and the story is the anchor. Because it's always the characters that I walk away loving, and especially the character interactions. And here it's the same thing too. Like, I like all these characters and I loved watching them all play together and I love watching them hate each other. But the story itself, not that much to it. I mean, the story really works in your heart, but not really so much in your head, I think. So I don't think it's a total loss or anything. I did enjoy it overall, and I did enjoy the season overall more than I enjoyed the finale or the first episode. Like, the middle part was very good. So in a sense, it was like pancakes, which at first, no, it's not like pancakes. Never mind. Forget that analogy. It's not like pancakes. I'm giving this season 3 turtles out of 5 altogether because I feel it's directly middle down the road. There's some points to it that are silly, and we talked about all that this episode, but there are some really special moments to this, and there are some really good moments. There are some really good episodes. Episodes 5 and 6 and 7 were very strong. And so because of that, I think it kind of carries the season for me. So I think 3 overall is very fair.
Mm-hmm. I'm also giving it 3 out of 5. So since my reasons are very similar to you, I'm just gonna say, yeah, that's what I'm giving it. Yeah, I think you said it all, really. I think you were trying to think of the compliment sandwich, but when you're
Oh,
thinking of
maybe so.
but yeah, I am looking forward to the next seasons. We're hoping it will be renewed. I am. And
I'm sure it will be. I'm not hoping. I'm just kind of
yeah.
positive it will
Yeah.
be.
I mean, I've had too many shows get canceled at this point. I never take anything
Oh,
for granted.
good point.
So, but yeah, I'm hoping that it might be that once we go back, we'll say, "Hey, we're wrong. It was better than we thought." But right now,
Hmm.
I'm I'm saving some of the adulation for maybe future seasons.
I wonder how it will work on a binge rewatch because me and Charlotte have plans. She hasn't seen past episode 2 yet, but a couple days ago she was making plans with me to rewatch or to, watch the rest of the season. So I'm going to be doing that with Charlotte. We're going to do like a binge rewatch. So I'll report back to you, Lindsay, what we think about that. If that
Yeah.
helps the rewatch or if it hurts it. You never know.
And you saying that makes me think, would I do a binge rewatch? And I don't think I would, which makes me realize that I liked the show. Maybe I would rewatch it again when season 2 comes out, but I don't love it like I do some other shows that you think, I can't wait to watch it again. I don't think I do.
I feel the same way too. If it was just me, I wouldn't rewatch it either. But this
Mhm.
is my daughter. My
Yeah.
daughter wants to rewatch it with me. So, of course, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And just like with you, like if somebody from your family was like, or somebody that you love wanted to watch Welcome to Derry and never seen it before, I'm sure you would probably do that as well. Not of your own volition, but, out of curiosity or just for an event with a friend.
Okay, now we have moments, and I'm sticking a new one in here, Steve, that I didn't tell you about. So I'll go first for that one. But I want to do
Okay.
top moment of the season. So your top
Okay.
out of all the show, top moment of the season, and then top horror moment of the season.
Oh,
Like which
fun. Okay.
horror scare do you think was the most effective in your book?
You definitely go first then. Okay.
Okay. So, top moment of the season. Looking at everything, I have to go back to Marge and Rich in the cafeteria eating lunch. That moment when the two of them
Okay.
sit with over their green jellos
Yeah.
and bond, and he gives her the eye patch, and then they get to, they're talking about the pirate and the knight, and they just have this cutest interaction that was not cringeworthy at all. It felt very natural, very childlike, and it was just sweet. The two of them there, and then the patty cakes coming up, and that moment when
Oh,
you're
God.
wondering, is she going to be a jerk and go with the patty cakes, or is she going to stay? And that's the moment that Rich really falls in love with Marge, I think.
Yep.
But that, for the whole show, I think that's my very favorite moment.
That's a tough one to top. That's great. Yeah, because the way that scene ends too, with her showing the eye and saying that she's defining herself as a freak was great. So yeah, I guess for me, maybe it wasn't the particular moment that this happened, but the whole situations around it and just the event itself. The return of Maddie. I thought that was great. And it was great the way that he popped out of the tent. It was great the way they had the interactions with the kids when they thought he was Maddie. When he turned into Pennywise, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about that was great. The fact that he even did that. The fact that the show went there and did that to us and kind of played into the fan service some. I thought that was very well done too. So Maddie's return.
Yeah, that was a journey.
Yeah.
Because there was that rumor, is Maddie still alive?
Yep.
But the way that it was done was a total surprise, not something I expected to see. I didn't expect to see little Maddie Clements again. And I especially didn't expect to see him turn into Pennywise, but we got it. And they nailed that moment. That's a great pick. Okay, top horror moment of the season. So for you, what was your biggest scare, the biggest moment that you thought was well done? I am going to go ahead and choose the Ronnie birth scene.
Oh, good call.
I believe this was in episode 2. So this is going back a little bit. And unfortunately, it's in the same episode as Cemetery Gate, but maybe that
No,
was
it's not.
okay, it's
It's
not.
not.
But we had 2 big scares in that. We had the Ronnie scare and we had the
Hmm.
Pickle Dad scare. And
Right.
this is the one that happens in Ronnie's room where she's in her bed and there's that moment where she's suffocated under her bed sheets and then it turns
Hmm.
into a uterus and she's born and there's goo all over the floor and it seems to last forever. And even though it was a CGI practical effect, I felt like it was really gross. And so that's my pick. Ronnie's rebirth scene.
That's solid. Yes, I agree with that. I guess because I wasn't prepared for this either. But when you talk about the scary scenes, I think like the first thing that comes to my mind, and I think it's stuck here, is the image of Pennywise sleeping in his lair and all that blood, and you can just see like his eyes. And then like when he wakes up, I love that scene. I love that image. I love everything about that. So I'm going to just simply put that one as my scare.
Yeah, that was gross.
Mm-hmm.
And very effective way but they put all that together.
And then his costume, like from the rest of the season after that, it carries over as well. And I like that a lot. I like that about it too. It dyed his clothes red.
Bathed in a lake of crimson.
Lovely.
All right, so now we're going to have MVP character of this episode and MVP character of the season.
All right, and I first, I guess?
Sure.
All right. Okay, you're not going to agree with me on this one, but I'm going to give my MVP of this episode to young, ghostly Rich for 2 reasons. One, because he gave the finger to Pennywise. We got to love that. And then 2, because he was the last benevolent force that we needed to get that spike into the ground. However far-fetched it is, that whole Rich resurrection thing is just completely far-fetched BS. Nonetheless, I love Rich a lot. I was very happy to see him again. Despite the corniness of some of the funeral stuff, I liked seeing him at the funeral too, because he looked nice. His hair was good. He had on his shirt and everything, that red shirt. But yeah, just Rich. This episode, his return, he did it for me. I give him MVP.
You saying the hair makes me think, well, we should have had a Polly moment then where he could have come back and shown his good hair as a ghost too. I mean, he did get to show his hair, but...
Yeah, why didn't he come back too? You're right. It should have been like the bear guy, Rich on one hand, Polly on the other hand.
Yeah, or Polly could have shown up at the black spot and helped with that escape.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all right. Missed opportunity. Let us know if you need our help, Muschiettes.
So who's your MVP of the episode then?
All right, my MVP of this episode is going to be a gentleman that I have yet to acclaim this whole really season. I'm giving it to Pennywise.
Oh, yay. Okay.
You gave Pennywise an award one episode. I thought he did a super job being a supervillain.
Yeah.
And I especially liked his moment when he woke up in the clown cart and got slapped around. But he was he was as epic of a villain as we deserve in this finale.
He's a hornsman too. He was playing the tuba this episode. That was great. He's a musician.
That's right. Well, I mean, I called him the Pied Piper. He was leading the kids. That was very, very appropriate of a fairy tale character.
That's fair. Okay.
Okay.
I'm glad I was thinking you were going to give it to Leroy this episode because you were glazing him a lot earlier. So I was sure it was going to be
glazing.
him.
I would have if you had picked Pennywise, I would have gone with my number 2, which would be Marge.
Okay.
I already gave Leroy an MVP. You know, I definitely always try to spread the love around.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah. Okay, MVP character of the season. I can go first this time?
Sure, go for it.
All right, I am picking Chris Chalk as Dick Halloran.
Solid choice.
I've already explained why I admire his arcs. I won't go over that again, but I thought that, I just appreciate this performance, and I like the tie-in to Dick Halloran in The Shining. He's a good character, and we will always appreciate him in our hearts.
He has a house in our heart, Lindsay.
Oh boy. I was going to say something about that because you mentioned the lifeboat or the anchor. And I'm like, yeah, well, Dick Halloran has a home in the heart. Who's your MVP character of the season?
Of the season. So yeah, like Dick Halloran was definitely my runner-up for sure. But I wasn't going to say him. I would have said him if he was my lead guy. We would have both held hands and said Dick Halloran. But for the season, when it comes to like every episode, who do I like the most? It's got to be Miss Marge. Marge is my lady. So, I mean, she gets it just for spunk and for being a freak, like proclaiming herself a freak, and her arc that she went through. We know Dick Halloran went through an arc, but so did she. And this is a good time to go back on something we didn't talk about with Pennywise, who's your MVP of this episode, and Marge, who's my MVP of the season. So Pennywise said he called the three girls the fool, the failure, and the freak. Mm-hmm. And he didn't say which one was which.
That's so
my suspicion is that by using elimination, I would say Lily is the freak, first off, because that's just what the town proclaims her as, is like crazy and the freak. So Lily's the freak, hands down. So it's like, who is the fool and who is the failure? So I don't really see either one of them really being foolish, but I do see a lot of failure with Marge, and where Pennywise would probably try to capitalize on that. We're like, oh, you're not popular. You didn't get with your popular friends or whatever. So I think it's Marge that's the failure. Therefore, Ronnie is left over as the fool. Do you agree with that, or do you think differently?
Well, I hate to poke holes in your theory, Steve, but
okay.
When you first said that, I was thinking, oh yeah, there's that. But when you said freak, I was like, freak has to be Marge, because in the cafeteria, she says, I am a freak. Remember?
I do remember. Oh.
Yeah. So fool and failure. This is a good question. I guess this would be like a good litmus test. You're at a party. Everybody has to say. I don't know. I would think that. I wonder if these are words these girls have used to describe themselves, because I could see Ronnie maybe saying, I feel like a fool.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a line she said. So maybe these are words that they used to describe themselves. And, because how people give themselves negative talk.
I could see Lily calling herself a failure as well. So that kind of does make sense.
Yeah. But Marge did use the word freak as a word of empowerment. So would Pennywise use that? I don't know. This is a good question.
But all in all, though, we know that Dick Halloran and what was Marge's last name? Truman?
Truman.
It's not Tozier. Yeah, Marge Truman and Dick Halloran.
Mm-hmm.
Best of the season.
Yeah. Okay. So that comes into, let's talk predictions. You've already predicted it will be renewed. I'm hoping it will be renewed. But they've set us up for season 2. So I think we've already kind of talked about some of this, but did you have anything new to add that came to you this episode?
No, not really. It just seems confirmed that Pennywise is going to be going back, looking for the Bainbridges, looking for the Trumans, looking for their families to try to off their parents. And here's an interesting prediction. This did come to me, Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a lightning bolt.
Bam!
We know how Pennywise doesn't see time linearly. He doesn't know what the beginning, end, or middle is. It just kind of all is to him. So maybe we'll get some flashbacks next season, even though we'll be like in 1935 or 1935. That's what it is. Maybe Pennywise will have some memories, or maybe they'll show up in some sort of like memory way, because Pennywise knows who Richie Tozier is. Therefore, in 1935, he'll remember who all these kids are too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, here's something to consider. I know they said that he sees the past, present, and the future the same, but it feels like because they made these times go backwards, I'm wondering if what really happened is Pennywise dies in 2017 and he's actually moving forward backwards. Like he's moving forward in time. So he goes from 2017 to 1989.
88, 89.
89. Then he goes to 62. Then he goes to 35. And then the end of his life is actually 1908. Well, not the end because he was born before that. But I wondered if he's actually not jumping around, but he's actually going backwards. Like that's like this is his survival mechanism is going backwards. And maybe you've already thought of that, but there's in the after special they have at the end of the episode, they always have the Muschiettes talking. Andy said something about what if Pennywise is going backwards in time. So it felt like he's actually moving backwards. Like maybe he was this is hurting my brain now. He can't have been born in 2017. But
No.
they almost made it sound like what we've been viewing as him being reborn later is actually him being reborn earlier. So I don't understand exactly how it works, but I was...
Well, to him, his death and his birth are the same thing. They occurred on the same day. So he was killed in 2017. He, as Pennywise, was born in that wagon in 1908. So all of his memories are collective between 1908 and 2017.
But he wasn't born then because the little urchin boy is
Pennywise.
there.
What we know as Pennywise was born in 1908. That's what I was trying to harp on, the birth of Pennywise. Because before he became Pennywise, he was just shapeless. He was just a shapeshifter. Once he became Pennywise, he liked it.
His consciousness is the same, though.
Of course.
It's not like there's a different consciousness when he's Pennywise.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Well, I didn't mean when I was saying Pennywise, I mean it. I didn't mean...
well, I mean, Pennywise only existed between 1908 and 2017. That's the only time Pennywise existed. So that's what we're focused on here.
Well, I'm thinking about it, the entity, not just Pennywise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, it's like, Jesus and God. It's like, think of Pennywise as Jesus and
He's
it is God.
One form of the entity is Pennywise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And our story is focused on Pennywise.
Right. Anyway, I'm just saying he might be getting older as he's getting younger. Like maybe he's like a Benjamin Button type.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know how that would work actually, but it would work just like Benjamin Button, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's go rewatch that and see how it works.
It almost feels like the more you try to explain, the worse it will get. So I'm not sure if we need all of this explaining. I'm not sure why they put it in, but if they're going to do it, they have to do it well, and we will judge them.
Yeah, we will, and harshly too. Two turtles.
All right. Well, do you have any plugs or closing announcements?
I guess it's pretty pertinent here because this is our last episode of Welcome to Derry. Next episode, I'll be releasing in 2 weeks because I've been releasing all these episodes weekly because we've been having a lot of fun watching them and then recording them the very next night. I'm going to slip back to a bi-weekly / monthly schedule. The next episode you hear will be the return of Sarah Ellis. She'll be coming back and we'll be talking about songs about time once again. And keep me up in your feed, Sweet Child of Time. Keep me subscribed. You might not see episodes every week, but you will see episodes. I guarantee it.
Okay. And the next thing I will probably be putting out after this will be the part 2 of Stranger Things will come out Christmas Day. And then I'll be recording with Harrison after that. And we'll also do so after the finale. And then after that, it'll be end of the year stuff, some more best of the year lists and items like that. But I won't be recapping a show again for a while unless we get the Struel Peter starting up. If we get that, we will see.
Maybe January, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. But it's been a little hectic pace doing these weekly releases.
It has been. I've enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep this up every week doing this. I mean, because we both have full-time jobs and full-time families and stuff too. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope we can do it again sometime.
Seems like back like the old days, Steve.
Oh yeah.
Remember when we podcasted dark? We were doing those weekly releases.
Yes, we were. Yep, and you make it very easy for me, Lindsay. I'm gonna say thank you here at the end because you make this very easy for me. You're putting out the formats, and you're doing our introductions and our outros, and I'm just giving you my thoughts along the way. So you make this very easy, and that makes it fun for me. So thank you.
Well, it's been fun for me, and I hope it's been fun for all of you, our listeners. Thank you once again for joining us for this episode of Welcome to Derry. May all the clowns you meet be kind. May all the friends you met be kept safe in your hearts where they have a home. And we wish you a happy rest of 2025. Goodbye, everybody.
Yes. Bye-bye.